So, let's talk about this Atleti season, and let's go in order. First, the summer transfer window, one of the biggest transfer windows the club has made in years. It all started with the transfers of unnecessary players, being the case of João Felix, one of the most disrespectful players football has seen, but no worries João. Every match day at the Metropolitano, we ensure your honor plaque is as beautiful as always, for the disrespect you showed to us. He never played to compensate his signing, a staggering €126 million, the club's most expensive transfer ever. He has the ego of his idol Cristiano and the performance of a box.
Espacio, ahí va Pedro Neto, atacando ese espacio, espera Madueque, llega yo, gol, 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 gol! Balotelli, Aguero!
I think it is incredible the way we ripped off Chelsea to pay us more than €50 million for this player in big 2024. But football always gives what a player deserves, and he did not last more than 1 year, being loaned out to AC Milan in January, and since then, he has the impressive, almost unbreakable record of 2 goals in 15 matches. He literally has the same goals as a Real Valladolid centre-back, and now Benfica can potentially re-signing him. Now, don't get me wrong, I think he is one of the most talented Portuguese players right now, but he lacks the most important things, respect and discipline, and that, like it or not, was reflected in his stats and mentality in the club, and that's why I think selling him was a very good deal. Another attacker who was transferred was Morata. The first half of the season, he played like Ronaldo Nazario, bagging goals every week, but since a horrific injury against Sevilla, which I still wonder why the medical staff let him play versus Inter, just a couple of weeks later, his great form was destroyed, not even playing half as good as before. To give you an idea, in the last 124 days in which he played in Atletico, he scored the grand total of 3 goals, an innocent reminder that he is a striker.
Embarrassing!
I still remember when he said, "I can't imagine what it must be like to win in this shirt and I won't stop until I get it." And literally less than 3 weeks after he signed for AC Milan. This shows how bro is the most undecided baller on this planet, also proved by the amount of dreams he had when he was a kid.
Lo importante es que estoy aquí, es donde quería estar. Nuestro sueño y nuestra pasión es triunfar aquí en el Madrid y vamos a dejarnos la vida por hacerlo.
When I was little, I think, imagine one day I can be at Chelsea and making goals.
Pues la infancia, ¿no? La auténtica felicidad, yo creo, y bueno, por eso significa mucho para mí estar hoy aquí. ¿Al Getafe lo conoci? Al Getafe è stato un anno bellissimo e poi sono andato al Real Madrid, però io con mio papà andavo al Calderón e sognavo di giocare là. Purtroppo ho dovuto giocare con altre maglie là e non con quella dell'Atletico, però... Una squadra che ha scommesso tutto su di me quando ero un ragazzo molto giovane e ho legato veramente tanto e sempre ho sognato con un ritorno qua, per cui adesso sono qua.
Being serious, I used to like him a lot at our club, and I will always have a special memory of him since he scored the first goal I visited the stadium, but since that night at Dortmund, I think it is safe to say that his chapter at Atletico Madrid closed definitely. The case of Keller Soyuncu was one which did hurt me a bit. For me, he didn't have what it took to play consolidately at the Metropolitano, but I think Atleti fans were too harsh on him. They painted him as a Maguire transfer. But actually, his performances during friendlies and the first 2 La Liga matches were really solid for me. He was quite imposing with his physique and he even scored a goal versus Celta de Vigo. Although, at the end, it was ruled off for offside, and then the rest of the matches he did not play well, such as in Sevilla, in which he did not play more than 15 minutes before being sent off, so I think the departure was necessary, but he did not deserve the critiques of the fans. Also, he hasn't been playing badly in Turkey this season, becoming a solid centre-back for Mourinho. Another centre-back who exited the club, this time for free, was Mario Hermoso. I mean, he was a really good left-footed centre-back, but in many matches, his main weakness was evident, defending, which I find ironic considering he is a centre-back, and on top of that he wanted a pay rise, when his main task, defending, was not even close to being his strength. Therefore, I think the club did well not to renew him after asking for that pay rise. He was playing at AS Roma but he went loaned out to Bayer Leverkusen, in which he has not really played a lot during his stay at the club because of a season-ending injury. Moving on, we have the case of Gabriel Paulista, which came on deadline day, precisely after Soyuncu's departure. To be fair, his first few matches were pretty decent, but after a horrible mistake against Cadiz, which caused the definitive loss by 2-0, Simeone stopped counting with him, judging by the fact that after that match he only played 45 minutes in the Atletico jersey. He is now currently enjoying his retirement at Besiktas. Another veteran centre-back who left our club was Stefan Savic. I mean, this man back in his days could stop anyone. Cristiano almost scoring? Saved over the line. Rashford in our last third? Savic with a slide tackle. Liverpool about to score a crucial goal in the tie. Savic with a tremendous block. Suarez about to score a goal for Barcelona? Savic with a clean tackle to avoid it. And the list could go on and on and on, probably until Molina scores another goal. He was one of the last ultra-aggressive centre-backs, who defended their teammates at any cost, as he stated in a recent interview, in which he mentioned that he never started fights, not even the iconic fight against Grealish. And how can we forget the video relic that Savic and Ferran left us? He was and is a club legend, but in his last season, you could really tell age was catching up, with some inaccuracies that sometimes cost us matches, but he left with his head held high and being one of the greatest contemporary references of Atleti. Just like Paulista, he is enjoying his retirement in the Turkey League, more specifically in Trabzonspor, earning €3 million per season. Another player that exited the club that transfer window was Saul Niguez, an absolute club legend. Nobody will ever forget that authentic stunning goal he scored against Bayern Munich in the Champions League semi-final, because back in his prime, he was an absolute magician, with skillful dribbles, incredible vision, and pure talent. But I think that the contract given to him in 2017, which was a stunning 9-year contract, relaxed him a bit, and bit by bit, he started losing consistency and magic, to the point that many calcioneros, including me, to be honest, wanted his departure this season, especially after that penalty miss against Inter Milan in the penalty shootout. As Savic, he is and will be a club legend forever. In one interview he took, he confesses that he played for us even when he sometimes urinated blood, showing the type of player Saul was, but in his last few seasons, including the loan spell at Chelsea, his lack of consistency was evident, and he was one of the highest paid players of the squad, which seemed unfair, judging by the fact that many fans have agreed that he was one of the worst players of the season. Just Nahuel Molina was worse than him. It became evident, even for his most ardent fans, that he lost the level to play for Atleti, so I think the club did another good job letting him go to Sevilla, hopefully forever, because it was just a loan spell until the end of his contract, so his future remains unsolved. Moving on, we have the thankful exit of Vitalo. I mean, I have no words to describe what I think of him, principally because YouTube would ban my video.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
The club agreed to pay €40 million as a release clause since his level back then was so high that he was even a regular starter for the Spanish national team, scoring 4 goals in 5 matches. He first played 6 months out on loan in Las Palmas. He did not play well. In Atletico Madrid? The same, he did not play well, to the point that we need to change the phrase of he did not play well to he did not play, to be fair with him, mostly because he was an injury-prone player. He is now retired and still involved in sport activities, such as the Transgran Canaria bike competition. Carlos Martín and Mourinho both traveled to Vitoria, to play for Alaves, which managed to avoid relegation quite comfortably. Carlos Martín got a loan spell, which I think is okay, because he is a really promising striker, already packing goals in La Liga, so I think it is a good idea to continue loaning him out for a few seasons. As for Mourinho, he was transferred, but with a low buyback clause of less than €5 million, and I think that the buyback clause definitely needs to be activated, since he is a promising, strong centre-back, something which we really need right now. To be honest, he looks almost like a Jimenez Rayjan, Uruguayan player, really young but powerful, and might end up progressing in Atleti with an experienced centre-back, also Uruguayan. Also, Oblak's dominance forced the exit in form of loan, possibly to never return, of Harachi Moldovan, a Romanian goalkeeper, proceeding from Rapid Bucharest, who, after a decent season, signed as the second goalkeeper choice in January, covering the transfer of Ivo Grbić to Sheffield United. To be fair with him, you cannot really judge his Atleti career, basically because he literally played the same minutes in Atletico as a rock, which understandably angered a bit Moldovan. He is currently finishing his loan spell at already promoted Sassuolo. He played really good for them, even being chosen as Sassuolo's Player of September, so chances are he'll end up in Sassuolo definitely, which I think is a good operation for everyone. Another player who has been loaned out is Arthur Vermeeren. In January 2024, he was signed after some incredible performances at Antwerp, even scoring in the Champions League against Barca. Atletico Madrid signed him for an estimated €22 million. Simeone had not asked for that signing, so he barely played it, just on 5 occasions during 5 months, never even playing 90 full minutes. That's why he was loaned out to RB Leipzig, in which he is having a lot of playing time, becoming a key player for Leipzig, team that has activated the buy option, meaning that he will end his short voyage at the Metropolitano with just 5 matches. Literally Bad Bunny will have more performances at the Metropolitano than him. Anyways, he is a really talented player, with the potential to become one of the world's best, but Simeone's tactics are simply not for a player like him. That is why it is better for Vermeeren and Atletico to take different paths. Marcos Paulo and German Varela also left the club, 2 players who never really broke out into the first team. German Varela currently plays for Elche, and Marcos Paulo now plays in the second division of Brazil. Believe it or not, Marcos Paulo was believed to be a promising Brazilian attacker, but, at the end, he was just another Vitalo. Another player who also traveled to Brazil is Memphis Depay. I mean, Barca basically gifted him to us for 4 million. The first few months at Barca, he was a solid attacker, scoring some good goals, but thanks to him being an injury-prone player and the signing of Lewandowski, in 2022, he signed for Atletico Madrid. For me, he was one of the best players of the squad by talent and he had a nose for a goal, but injuries sadly disrespected him. In 2024, he actually did okay, with a few key goals, such as the 2 goals against CD Lugo in the Copa del Rey, 2 winning goals against Sevilla and Rayo Vallecano in the last minutes of the game, and how can we forget the goal which forced extra time against Inter Milan. I will always have an incredible memory of Depay thanks to the great game he played that night, being key to defeating Inter. Last but not least, we have the strange case of Samu Omorodian. We signed him for his release clause of 6 million after he scored the first goal we conceded at the Metropolitano. It was obvious he was a promising striker, so we sent him out on loan to, you guessed it, Alaves. During that season, he was a really good player, scoring 8 goals and giving 1 assist in 34 matches. Initially, he was set to be transferred to Chelsea, even Fabrizio Romano gave the, here we go, but due to a problem with the contract, it was finally not agreed. A few days later, he signed for Porto, where he has scored 22 goals in 38 matches across all competitions. In my opinion, this was my least favorite exit, but I understand it. It was a really clever operation, and it helped us in exchange for another player. Moving on, we have the signings made on the transfer window, that were really good, especially since the last few windows were absolute bullshit. The first transfer that was confirmed was Robin Lenormand, a player who was a done deal since June, but it took weeks to be confirmed, and it seemed it was going to be our only transfer again, but, it wasn't. Then, it seemed we were signing Dovbyk, but his infamous agent cried like a baby for not getting a big bonus in the contract, and he signed instead for Roma, club that did not even qualify for the Champions League. Brilliant move, Dovbyk. Instead, we signed Sorloth, a really solid striker who found form at Villarreal, almost being the top scorer of the league. He played unforgettable matches such as the poker scored against Real Madrid, and it was proven later that the signing was a good deal. Then, the real craziness came. Yes, the club in which their best signing in the last 7 years was João Felix, were able to make an offer to Man City for Julian Alvarez, which I consider he had, and has, the potential to become the world's best in a matter of a couple of years, and also Conor Gallagher, a sacrificing player who gave everything in every match, but it seemed that next season play time was not assured for him at Chelsea. All this would collapse if Samu Omorodian did not sign for Chelsea, which unfortunately happened. Fortunately enough, Chelsea has Todd Boehly as a president and we managed to get the done deal, now in exchange of João Felix's transfer. After that, all Atleti fans were really hyped, especially after the welcome night celebrated at the Metropolitano with all the signings. After that night, Musso, a solid second-choice goalkeeper, was loaned in. I think he was and is a safe pair of hands the matches in which Jan Oblak is not able to play, or in the early stages of the Copa del Rey. Finally, Lenglet was also loaned in as a Mario Hermoso replacement, something which killed the hype a bit. I mean, he just came from a bad loan spell in Aston Villa and countless mistakes in Barcelona, so I think it is safe to say that there was almost nothing to expect from him at the beginning of the season. And with that signing, the squad was closed for that window. This transfer window left a bit of a bittersweet taste, as most of the signings and departures were smart, but those last 2 signings seemed to be made out of desperation to fill the positions that weren't covered before rather than for their quality. Now, we have the season itself. Oh dear. The first month, August, was mainly filled with ups and downs. The team did not play well, mainly because the players could not adapt in time for the first few fixtures, which was noticeable in matches such as the 2-2 draw against Villarreal away or the 0-0 draw against Espanyol at home. In between those matches, there was a great game in which we beat Girona by 3-0, with a stunning free kick from Griezmann. However, the best match probably was when we beat Athletic Club by 1 goal in San Mamés, with a goal from Correa in stoppage time. In my opinion, the best players were Sorloth, who scored the goal which equalized the match just before halftime, Antoine Griezmann, with that stunning free kick and with good performances overall. But in my opinion, the absolute best player was Marcos Llorente. Although he wasn't playing in his natural position and was instead lined up as a right wing-back, because we have the GOAT Molina, he managed to score 2 excellent goals, especially the one against Girona, and earned 2 MVP awards. One player who did not play to the expectations was definitely Axel Witsel, who could have been a potential starter during all the season, but after some bad mistakes, for example the error he had in a Villarreal goal, it was proven that his age was catching up for him. Moving on to September, the team performed better but with the slip of Rayo Vallecano, in which we only managed a 1-1 result. The best 2 matches were the 3-0 win over Valencia at home, in which Julian scored his first goal for us. Or the 2-1 win over RB Leipzig, on the first match of the Champions League, with a phenomenal Griezmann, scoring a goal and delivering the assist of the winner goal just before stoppage time. To end September, we had the derby at the Metropolitano, the mother of all fights we have ever had with any Madrid player for a long time. The first 60 minutes it was all okay, until Militao scored a goal to place Madrid in front, then, Courtois, the player who would have been nothing if Atleti had not trusted him to loan him in from Chelsea, in which he was a bench warmer, decided that it was a genius idea to turn towards the Atletico Madrid ultras, yes, the ultras, and start celebrating in their faces and challenging them. And I think that the rest was history. Some key players were, Griezmann again, with solid performances across the competitions, and Julian Alvarez, who started gaining confidence, attempting more dribbles and asking more for the ball to be passed to him, which translated into goals. But for me, the best player was definitely Conor Gallagher, who gave everything every match and sometimes had to carry the team on his back, such as the day we drew to Rayo Vallecano, thanks to a goal from him. He even was able to score another good goal, against Valencia. A player who unexpectedly shone after this month was Javi Galán, who barely played before the derby, but in the derby he gave an assist to Korea to equalize the match, again, in stoppage time in October. However, there was a worse level, probably the worst in the 3 months we've mentioned. On our first match, we got destroyed by Benfica 4-0 in Portugal, probably one of the worst matches of Simeone since his coming, and then lost again against Lille in our stadium by 3-1. In La Liga, we got a win of 3-1 over Leganés, comeback included, a draw at Real Sociedad playing horribly and conceding a late goal from Susic, and a worrying loss against Real Betis away 1-0 in which the team did not play as half as good as in many other matches. After that match, many fans were asking for Simeone's departure. We closed the month with an expected win over Vic, a club which was playing at 6th division at the time, by 2-0. The best players that month were Julian Alvarez, with 4 goals and an assist, or Sorloth, with a really good performance against Leganés. I think this month was so bad because we lost one of our defensive pillars, Robin Lenormand, thanks to an injury in the head caused by Tchouaméni. That injury saw him sidelined for about 3 months before even playing some minutes. Moving on to November, the team stopped messing around and turned into absolute machines, winning all of the 6 matches that were played, with victories in La Liga such as the victory away at Pucela by 5 goals, or the narrow win over Alaves at the Metropolitano with comeback included. In the Champions League, we were able to beat Paris Saint-Germain, the team that eventually won the Champions League this season, playing in the Parc des Princes, with another Korea goal seconds away from the end of the match. The best players were probably Korea, with that winning goal against PSG. Sorloth and Julian also played incredible football, or Giuliano Simeone, who started showing what he was capable of, starting to score goals, and Clement Lenglet, who started displaying solid performances in the defense. What came next was probably the best month of the whole season, December. We closed our Champions League voyage that season with a solid 3-1 win over Slovan Bratislava. In the Copa del Rey, we won with 3 goals against the Extremaduran side of Casarino, scoring 3 goals in the last 10 minutes. In La Liga, we won every single match. The most epic matches were the 4-3 against Sevilla with an incredible comeback, since we were losing 1-3 with less than 40 minutes to go, or the 2-1 win over Barca in Barcelona, with a goal from Sorloth in the very last minute, which granted us the top spot in the league, closing the year in the best way possible. I simply cannot choose to say just 2 or 3 players as best players of the month, because that month, we truly played as one of the best versions of Atleti's history. In January, things started shaking a little bit, but just a bit. In La Liga, we started losing consistency with 2 important setbacks, a defeat against Leganés, which broke our 15 consecutive matches winning, and dropping more points with a draw against Villarreal in the Metropolitano, but still managing to win a match before those 2 setbacks, against Osasuna. In the Champions League, we were able to keep form, with an epic comeback against Bayer Leverkusen with 1 man down for more than 50 minutes, and winning by 3 goals in Salzburg, assuring a 5th place finish in the table, meaning we avoided the preliminary round. The best players were probably Giuliano with 1 goal and an assist in the last Champions League match, Oblak with many good performances, or De Paul, who seemed to start remembering how to play in November, and at January he was already one of the best in Europe in his position. In February, things shook even more, and the team started to crumble, winning against Mallorca and Valencia but dropping points against Celta Vigo, thanks to another Barrios red card, angering the fans, and then against Real Madrid we managed to keep 1 point in our hands after a draw in the Bernabeu. In the Copa del Rey, we destroyed Getafe 5-0 and then, we faced Barcelona in the semi-finals, which ended in an incredible 4-4 draw, us scoring 2 goals first, then Barcelona scoring 4 times consecutively and Llorente and Sorloth kept us alive in the tie by drawing the score again. The best players probably were Julian Alvarez, surpassing 20 goals across all competitions just in February. Samuel Lino and Angel Correa also played really good. Samuel Lino scored 2 goals, delivered an assist and provoked the penalty that gave us a valuable point against Madrid, while Correa scored 2 goals and gave 2 assists. Giuliano Simeone also played really good, scoring 2 goals and giving 3 assists. In March, things definitely fell apart. We started the month with a win over Athletic Club 1-0, which we honestly didn't deserve since the Athletic players hit the post 3 times. Then, we lost against Real Madrid in the Champions League in penalties, which still hurts a lot. We actually played really well, but thanks to Papa Florentino Real Madrid went through. After Julian Alvarez touched the ball clearly 23 times we also lost to Getafe. Yes. Getafe, when we were winning 1-0 in the 87th minute, but thanks to Correa picking up a red card, the team fell apart and conceded 2 late goals. We then blew a 2-0 lead in the Metropolitano against Barcelona at the 72nd minute, conceding 4 goals. Then, we were only able to manage only a draw against Espanyol. That month was embarrassing. When we were alive in all competitions, we sabotaged ourselves, well, except in the Champions League. The best players probably were Julian Alvarez again, being key to the victory over Athletic Club, or Gallagher, who scored and assisted against Barcelona and Real Madrid. As an honorable mention, Cesar Azpilicueta scored his first goal of La Liga in 130 matches, and it was probably one of the best goals of La Liga. In April, everything fell apart. We started the month with a defeat against Barcelona in the Metropolitano, meaning we were knocked out of the Copa del Rey, with a 5-4 aggregate score. This defeat meant that we were having another trophyless season, unless a miracle occurred in La Liga, which didn't occur, especially after the defeat against Las Palmas, a team that got relegated the same season. But at least we won against Real Valladolid, Rayo Vallecano, and even Sevilla away. The best player probably was Julian Alvarez, with 4 goals in 5 matches. Also, Griezmann's level started to gradually worsen, since February, to the point in which he stopped being key for the team during some matches. To end the season, we had May. In May, we actually played well, except for 1 or 2 matches such as the horrific 2-0 result against Osasuna away, but we were not fighting for anything at this point, as usual. The most memorable matches were a memorable 4-0 win over Real Sociedad, a 4-1 win over Real Betis, and a 4-0 against Girona to end the season. I think there is no doubt, the best player was Sorloth. Against Real Sociedad, he scored the fastest hat-trick in the history of our club and added another goal less than 20 minutes later, and against Girona he scored a hat-trick when he didn't even play more than half an hour. Now, I will grade the club in general, the players, and the coach's season. Oblak. I will give Oblak's performance a solid 9 out of 10. I mean, he just conquered his 6th Zamora trophy, first in the history of La Liga to do it. He has had some spectacular actuations such as the win over PSG, in which he stopped 8 times the ball from going in. In La Liga, he turned into a beast and even won the save of the year as well. Musso, 6.5 out of 10. In the only La Liga match he played, up until the last fixture he was decent, saving a long-range shot and keeping a clean sheet. He also kept a clean sheet in La Liga against Girona, with a comfortable 4-0 win, just having to intervene once. He also kept clean sheets against Marbella, Getafe, and Elche in the Copa del Rey, just conceding 1 goal against Casarino. However, he conceded 5 goals in the semi-final, some of them which were evitable. He did play well, but the match against Barcelona left him on evidence that he hasn't got Oblak's level to compete against him in big matches. Noel Molina, 2 out of 10. No words needed.
For what is a man? What has he got?
I won't give him a 0 for the very good match he played against PSG and for some assists such as the one at the Luis Campaigns. Azpilicueta, 5 out of 10. He did not play a lot, but when he played he performed really good. Although it is important to highlight that he now does not play as much as in other clubs such as Chelsea, obviously because of age. Witsel, cannot grade him. I mean, he was key in the 2023-24 season, but this season he lost a lot of level, and that, accompanied by new signings, made him play barely. From January to the end of the season, he only played 3 times in La Liga, one of them being only 1 minute. Lenormand, 6.5 out of 10. He started really good, being a defensive pillar. The team was affected by his head injury, which lasted a lot, but they managed to be fine in a matter of 3 weeks or so. When he returned, his level worsened a bit and Lenglet played a bit more than him as a result of it, but he has managed to play a lot and pretty decently throughout the season. Josema Jimenez, 8 out of 10. This has been the season in which injuries have finally respected him, playing much more and demonstrating what he can be capable of at full potential, although he played a bit worse in the last months. Lenglet, 5.5 out of 10. Nobody expected anything from him when his signing was announced. Not even Simeone, who played him 90 minutes just once in 11 matches of La Liga. However, after Lenormand's injury and after learning from mistakes such as the one at PSG, his level increased and he played much more since then. However, there have been occasional mistakes, especially in international competitions, such as the penalties provoked against Real Madrid and Slavia Bratislava or the double yellow received against PSG just a couple of weeks ago. This shows how he can be a reliable centre-back, but not to play in the starting 11. Javi Galan, 6.5 out of 10. Nobody really expected anything from him. It was really probable that he would exit the club in August, but he ended up staying, with little playing time until an assist in injury time to Angel Correa in the derby, to equalize the match. From there, he gained a place in the starting 11, however, his lack in defending has been evident in many matches, such as the first leg match against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Reinildo, 5.5 out of 10. He could have been a starter, but Simeone chose not to. I cannot say a lot about him since he didn't play. The reason I passed him was because of some good performances when he was on the pitch, such as the match against Bayer Leverkusen. Koch, 5.5 out of 10. Probably one of the most irregular seasons for Koch. He did not play a lot because of great moments of other midfielders and was sidelined during a lot of time. He did play well when he entered but did not contribute to a higher fluency in midfield. Barrios, 7.5 out of 10. He has been one of the best players of the season, playing in many different positions in midfield. His grade could have perfectly been an 8 or 8.5 had it not been for the immature red cards against Bayer Leverkusen and Celta Vigo. Rodrigo de Paul, 8 out of 10. Another player who can be considered one of the best of the squad. His start this season was, as his ending of last season, really bad, with many fans asking for his transfer. Fortunately, he started playing much better and after that, he became a key piece for the team. Gallagher, 7 out of 10. He started being really relevant for the team, being one of the most intense players of the squad and managing 2 goals in 2 La Liga matches, but his level started decaying, to the point in which he was not even considered in the starting 11. At least he scored in the Champions League against Real Madrid, being the first English player to score in the derby and scoring the fastest goal in the Champions League for Atleti. Llorente, 8.5 out of 10. A really good player who played this season as right back, centre midfield and right midfielder, playing really good in all positions, scoring a decent amount of goals, such as against Girona or FC Barcelona. Riquelme, 2 out of 10. He has not played a lot, and when he played, he mostly played badly. The only 2 great matches he played were against Elche, scoring a really good goal, or against Espanyol at home, trying to score lots of times. Samuel Lino, 4 out of 10. One of the biggest upsets of the season. After a really good season, there was a lot of expectation building towards him, but his level worsened a lot, to the point where he did not score a goal until December. He did play some good matches such as in the 4-3 win over Sevilla. Lamar, cannot grade him. He just came from a long-term injury and that, combined with him being one of the worst players of the squad, made Simeone take the decision to not play him, giving him less than 130 minutes of playing time. Giuliano Simeone, 8 out of 10. During his first few matches, he was accused of playing for being the son of the coach, but through fighting every match and contributing in a lot of ways to the team, those people had to shut up. His level has been great throughout the season, surpassing expectations. Angel Correa, 6.5 out of 10. In his last season, he has bagged important goals being a superb sub, such as against PSG, Athletic Club or Real Madrid. However, he lost even his role as a rotation player to Sorloth, and that, combined with the red card shown to him in Getafe, has lowered his grade and accelerated his transfer to another club. Antoine Griezmann, 3.5 out of 10. His first few months were good, being key for the team, but as in the 23-24 season, his performances worsened after December, but this time even worse. Not playing well in the starting 11, or more recently, coming off the bench, he has been literally more than 115 days without scoring to the day I am doing this video. Julian Alvarez, 9 out of 10. The best player of Atletico Madrid and one of our only hopes. His start wasn't good at all, scoring 0 goals in his first 5 matches, but as he adapted, he became key for the team, almost carrying it alone, scoring 29 goals and giving 7 assists in 56 matches to this date. Sorloth, 8 out of 10. His start was not entirely good, having a 3-month drought in La Liga, but after that, he demonstrated to be the best super sub of La Liga, scoring 12 goals coming from the bench. However, the most memorable match he played was against Real Sociedad, scoring the fastest hat-trick in Atleti history and adding another one in the 30th minute. Simeone, coach 7.5 out of 10. Another good season of Simeone, but not entirely well. Some decisions have cost us matches, such as still trusting Griezmann in June. He has managed important victories and fought for titles, but, yet again, he has achieved none. The team in general, 7 out of 10. The team competed for every title, especially the national ones, but a low level at the start and at the end of the season did not help to win a title. However, our goals against improved radically and we had 15 matches without losing or drawing, a new record for the club. As this video is coming to an end, I'll tell you a bit about our club World Cup so far. First match, we got destroyed 4-0 against PSG, no miracle this time, although the ref didn't help much by ruling out a goal and giving multiple yellow cards, mainly to Atletico Madrid. Then, we comfortably won 3-1 against Seattle Sounders, with Pablo Barrios incredible. But since Botafogo beat PSG 1-0, we need to win by 3 goals against Botafogo to secure a place in the round of 16. To be honest, it's not looking good. But if there's a team that could either win with a poker from Sorloth, pull off a magical 2-player combo between Julian and Griezmann, or miss a penalty to blow it in the last minute, it's us. I hope you liked my video. Please subscribe if you'd like more content like this, and see you next time.